Hey guys, what's up? Spectre here, and today I wanted to discuss a pet peeve of mine that's come up this week as No Man's Sky has released its latest update, Atlas Rising. And I call it empty base syndrome. This issue has also come up with the recent early access release of Fortnite, but it's prevalent in many other titles as well. Both Fortnite and No Man's Sky have interesting fort building mechanics, but for who? In Fortnite, I recently built a rather large and impressive base. I took all the mistakes I made with my previous fortifications and built a new impenetrable stronghold. And as I strolled along the fort walls, I thought, if only someone could see this. I built an enormous fortress for no one. I'd like to contrast this with Fallout 4. While the game is nowhere near perfect and the settlement crafting feature caused its own stir among Fallout fans, it has more incentive than No Man's Sky or Fortnite, titles that are much more crafting intensive. In fact, you could almost completely ignore settlement building at all and enjoy, at the very least, dozens of hours of gameplay in Fallout 4. In Fallout, the settlement we create can attract settlers, denizens of the wasteland who are now under your care. It's the player's responsibility to keep them fed, provide them a bed to sleep in, and protect them. In return, players can assign them to tasks that can yield even more resources for everyone. It's a system that at least rewards players for intelligently designing a settlement. It provides a justification for the hours you spent crafting the perfect home among the wastes. To be fair, in Fortnite your base does come under attack in a sequence known as shield defense, in which players must face waves of enemies of increasing difficulty to put their fort to the test, but the issue remains. There isn't enough incentive for me to create a more complex or interesting base. In theory, I could just litter the ground with traps and be done with it. And you can place less than a handful of NPCs in your base, but they only appear to defend it and then disappear after, and interaction with them is rudimentary at best. This is a game that sells you on the idea that you're part of a ragtag group of heroes saving people from a storm that turns people into monsters or husks, yet there's absolutely nothing in-game that reflects that in a meaningful way, at least in the way that the trailers do. I can contrast this with yet another game, The Division, in which players create a base of operations, a stronghold, where those rescued from the viral outbreak could take shelter. You can watch as these NPCs go through their day, swapping stories, sharing meals, and taking comfort in one another. You can't really directly interact with these NPCs so much, but it's still something that's very humanizing and relatable to watch. It made you feel like you are fighting for people, and it definitely delivered a higher sense of purpose than the empty halls of my Fortnite base, or the quiet passageways of a base on some distant planet in No Man's Sky. Giving players the ability to interact with the NPCs that they shelter, and making the player directly responsible for maintaining that shelter, gives the player a higher sense of purpose, and could keep them playing longer and coming back more consistently. In No Man's Sky, the vast, beautiful worlds are mostly empty, save for the standstill NPCs who honestly aren't that different from one another. Adding interactive NPCs that actually serve a purpose, a crew if you will, could go a long way. In Fortnite, adding survivors that I could see and interact with, more items to fill my bases with rather than simply more walls to put up, could help remedy those issues. Fortnite's slogan is, "Don't take shelter, make it." All I'm asking is that you give us someone to make it for.